My thoughts on the DJI Avata, DJI's latest Cinewhoop FPV, and I want to tell you why I believe it's a game changer in real estate filmmaking. What is happening, y'all? It's your boy Sean Alami, and whatever you are, like always, you're doing fantastic. I just got back from Mallorca and it was one of the best content creating trips of my life ever, with such an intense shooting schedule, so many different locations to go to in such short period of time. Despite all of that, everything went as planned and we ended up with some amazing footage created with the DJI Avata. But, that's right, there's a but. We had something unfortunate happen to us on our last day when we were coming back. I can talk about it now without crying because it's been a week, so I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys what happened, alright? On the last day, we were super happy on our way to the airport and we stopped at this location to go get one more FPV shot from this epic location. And when we came back to our car, we had came to realize that our car had unfortunately been broken into. They took my laptop, my brand new laptop, with all the footage that I had dumped into it. Luckily, I still have 50% of what we had shot on a couple of SD cards, otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. They took a couple of my FPV drones with the DJI goggles version 1, plus my Radio Master. So yeah, definitely a setback. It still hurts and it's such a pity because I had so much fun stuff to show you, but I guess for some reason that I still don't know, it wasn't meant to be. But enough of me talking about this sad event. As I promised, I want to tell you my thoughts on the DJI Avata, DJI's latest Cinewhoop FPV, and I want to tell you why I believe it's a game changer in real estate filmmaking. I was able to fly this thing in two beautiful properties, completely different style from one another. One was a 7-year-old mansion by a cliff, private beach, very fancy. It cost actually 60,000 euros a week to stay there. Allegedly, Princess Diana stayed there. She had her own room. Man, I had footage of this whole thing I could show you, but I just can't. The second place was a super modern, beautiful house. I flew the Avata through both these homes. And I'm gonna walk you through my process of flying the Avata through these homes step by step, plus camera settings and all the shenanigans that went along with it. Stay tuned. So the first step was to find out the flight path, of course. So because this place was so huge, it made it challenging to figure out the flight path. So many different entries and exit possibilities. But after literally an hour, making drawings and thinking, I finally found the flight path where I would feel safe to fly through it. After finalizing the flight path, the second step was to find my place in the house while I was flying, meaning where I would be standing in the house so I would have the best transmission on the goggles. Now, I wanted the first flight to be on the ProTech 25, my regular FPV drone, mainly because I was more comfortable with it. I had experience flying it indoors already through my apartment. I flew it in a gym full of people, so it was my drone of choice to begin this project with. Before I actually fly the quad, I asked Samuel to walk through the flight path so I can see if I have transmission coming through the goggles the whole time. I did not want to lose connection to the quad halfway the flight path and God forbid crash into something very expensive, of course. And to be honest with you, I was actually having a hard time finding a place to find that would give me the best image transmission. Even though I had the power of the air unit set to 1200 milliwatts and I had the Omni antennas on the goggles, I was still losing my transmission when the drone was halfway through the flight path. And I think the reason for that was that mainly because this house was really old and he told me it has really thick concrete walls. But after a couple of hours and testing so many different locations, I finally found a place where I could fly without a problem, and here's the result of me flying the ProTech 25 stabilized with the one and only Real Steady. Check it out. Now after that, it was time to fly the Avata. Now, I had only flown this thing a couple of times outdoors, so I was a little bit nervous taking this thing off in manual mode inside. So my first takeoff was outside just to kind of avoid any accidents. I wanted to see the feeling of it. How is it going to feel flying this thing manual close to walls? And as soon as I took off, I realized that the sticks were way too sensitive. So manual mode was pretty much out of the window for this specific project, at least for this day, especially in such an expensive place. Now, I was able to fly the Protect 25 on acro mode because I had tuned the hell out of its rates, and the sticks reacted completely differently compared to the Avata. They were a lot less responsive. I made a video on how you can set it up indoors, a complete guide. You can check the video up here. Now, why do we fly acro mode? I had to ask myself that question there on that day. We fly acro to be able to have more freedom in our movements, right? Now, the Avata on manual mode can do all of that just like a regular FPV drone. But once you go on sport or normal mode, it gets very limited. You cannot do any pitches at all, so the drone won't be able to just to fly straight. And you can do a little bit of roll, which is, in my opinion, pretty much all you need when you're flying real estate. So I was like, let me try this thing on normal mode and see how it goes. And I take off with this thing, and right away, I just felt really good coming off from flying the Protect 25, and let me tell you why exactly. So many advantages right away. It just felt so safe flying it indoors, more reliable to send it out over a cliff on water far away from me. The drone itself felt a lot more stable, and the image transmission was amazing. I could literally fly this thing anywhere in the house and I would still have the best transmission. I could stop at any time without losing control of the quad and not worry about crashing into things. And most importantly, it maintained its elevation, which is one of the hardest things to do when you're flying acro mode FPV indoors. So right away, I felt this huge upgrade in control and image transmission, but I still didn't know how the quality of the video was. So after flying it a couple of rounds, I was curious to see how the footage is gonna hold up its end. So I looked at the footage of this thing on my laptop, and it was set to rock steady stabilization, and the quality was very decent, but unfortunately the stabilization was not to my taste because it was still showing all those small tiny rolls I did while I was flying, and Real Steady would fix all of that. And I ended up taking this thing into DaVinci Resolves to stabilize it, which I believe is the next best thing after Real Steady, even better than After Effects and Premiere Pro Warp Stabilizer. And it made it into what you see right now on the screen. So we finished the day, which I think was more like a practice day because I had learned so much from flying indoors in these beautiful homes for the first time ever with the regular Cinewhoop on acro mode and the Avata on sport mode on Rocksteady. So here comes the second day, which was the second home that looked completely different from the Yellow Castle. Luckily for you, I have a lot of content to show you, so you'll see less of me in this part of the video. All right, we're in front of the house right now. About to go meet Michael. Hey man. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, man.
Hey, good to see you. Good.
Yeah.
This is Samuel.
Hi, Samuel and Michael.
Hey.
You speak
Samuel.
English, German, or?
German.
German guy. Okay,
Yes.
but we speak English.
Yes.
Yes, better for you.
I can speak. Yes. I can speak German, but it's more comfortable for me to speak
Yeah,
English.
no problem.
This is the place?
Yeah, this is the owner is Let's Go England.
Mhm.
And, yeah.
I like this place. Too bad we have to be professionals. Otherwise, we could have jumped into this pool. Or maybe we will.
Very well, thank
Sorry,
you. You okay?
Sean.
Rick. It's
Nice
Sean
to meet
and
you.
Samuel. How are you doing? Sorry, what's your name?
Samuel.
Samuel.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's do a walkthrough.
Yeah.
See what we have and find the flight path. So again, first step was to figure out the flight path, and figuring it out this time around was a lot more easier simply because it was a lot smaller the place and it was a lot more simpler. Now this time I didn't even bother pulling out the Protect 25 because one feedback that I got from one of the realtors was that they said the footage of the Protect 25 on acro mode was really cool and all, but it was just too fast to kind of show the features of the place. Couple of things we learned from yesterday is I think not use the Protect 25 mainly because this drone is just too damn good. The control I had over this flying through the house yesterday, no stress. It was a lot more reliable, I would say. I could even fly it out to the water and come back in really safe, and the footage looked great. I think when we have enough light, we can definitely use this drone for tight places like this. I believe the only thing that was kind of getting on my nerves was that the horizon was kind of, you could see the rotation in the horizon line a little bit. And I tried to stabilize it with DaVinci Resolve, which I think does a way better job than Premiere Pro or After Effects Warp Stabilizer. However, I wish I could have used Real Steady, but this footage doesn't have the gyro settings, the gyro information for the Real Steady to use it. So, however, that being said, this drone has an option to stabilize the footage with the horizon locked steady. So we're gonna try that and see if that fixes the problem. I really like that FPV effect, coming in from outside, where you see a little bit of tilt in the horizon, a little bit of movement in the horizon, but not too much, because at some points I have to kind of manage the drone going through tight places, and you see that little bit of movement, which I don't like, and it is really hard to stabilize it. Like how GoPro fixes, a Real Steady fixes all of that stuff. We can't have that, unfortunately, with this, unless you guys have a solution for me. But for me, it's not. It's still a big question mark. So let's fly this thing through, go through the first flight path and see how we do. This is the room I picked to fly in because I'm not gonna fly through here, and I have a great view from inside. So hopefully, when we fly through the house, the reception will be okay. From what we experienced yesterday, it should be a walk in the park. So let's go. So we fly this thing a few rounds, and to be honest with you, I just loved how it performed. Very stable, stress-free, and I ended up producing some beautiful 4K 60 frames per second 10-bit footage. Now we have learned that this thing is a beast of a tool for real estate filmmaking, but I believe that it's not enough to present the home perfectly. You still need to have your high-end camera on a gimbal to show some places separately of the place. You still need a regular drone, for example the Mini 3, to get some cool effects, because especially the Mini 3 is amazing at night. If you want to show that twilight time of a place, the Avata is not the best drone when it gets a little bit dark. So definitely have all your tools if you're picking up a project of real estate. With that being said, this is definitely a must-have in your arsenal if you're into real estate filmmaking, and it is a very powerful and easy to operate tool, and very durable in my opinion. I'm currently working on a video that talks about the differences between a regular FPV Cinewhoop and the DJI Avata for flying it indoors. The video will be up here in a week after the upload of this video, so make sure to check it out here. If you found this video useful, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Until we see each other next time, fly safe, Sean Alami.